Hello, it's Stephanie and this is the B2 course. This is lesson 6. So in this lesson we have a grammar focus and we are going to be looking at a very important tense, especially in British English, and the name is the present perfect tense. We're going to have a look at how you form it, how you use it, and we will contrast with the past simple so that you can see the difference between when you use the past simple and when you need to use the present perfect. So this is present perfect 1. I've called it 1 because there are actually going to be 2 lessons on this tense because it is an important tense and there's a lot to cover. So lesson 6 and lesson 8 will be on this topic. As I said before, it's a B2 course, and if this is the first lesson you've seen, my name is Stephanie and thank you for joining me. Okay, so in our lesson today, we will review the present perfect form, contrast the present perfect and the past simple, and we will practice with using just, already, and yet. So as always, there will be some explanation of the grammar point, but I will also give you a lot of opportunity to practice because this is how you can remember and see if you need to learn some more or if you're comfortable enough to move on. So there'll be lots of opportunity for you to join in and to practice using the present perfect. So let's start with looking at the form. And by this, I mean, how do we make the present perfect tense? Okay, so present perfect simple is made with have or has and the past participle. So I've given you a breakdown here of I have finished, you have finished, he, she or it has finished, we have finished, they have finished. So this is the basic form of the present perfect simple. You do need to be careful if the verb is irregular because you're using the past participle. So that's the third one. See, saw, seen, for example. In my slide there, we used a regular verb, finished, finished, finished. So that's always the same. But just to be careful if you are using an irregular verb to make sure you use the right form. Okay, so in a positive sentence, I have finished, she has finished. In a negative sentence, I haven't finished, she hasn't finished. And in a question, you just invert. Have you finished? Has she finished? So it's quite straightforward, the form. It's very easy. You just need to be careful if you're using the third person, then you need to use has instead of have. So I'm going to show you 10 statements. Some are questions, some are positive and some are negative. I've given you the verb in an infinitive form, and what I want you to do is to complete the sentence, filling in the gap with the correct present perfect simple. So think, is it positive? Is it negative? Is it a question? Number 1. How long in New Jersey? So you need to use he and the verb to live. Number 2. Peter, baseball since 1987. Number 3. I, Russian for 20 years. Number 4. We, Tom, since Christmas. Number 5. In an aeroplane before. Number 6. Shannon, to lunch yet. Number 7. Our class, a field trip 3 times this year. Number 8. Where? To. Number 9. Jennifer that question 4 times today? And number 10, you lunch yet, have you? So all I'm asking you to do is to follow the structure that I showed you in the first slide, so using have or has and the past participle to complete these 10 statements. Be careful if it's negative and be careful if it's a question. I'll show you the slide, you can pause it, and then we will check the answers together. How did you do? Was that quite easy, or do you have some doubts? Let's have a look at the answers together and see how many you got correct. So, number 1, how long has he lived in New Jersey? Number 2, Peter hasn't played baseball since 1987. Number 3, I have spoken Russian for 20 years. Number 4, we haven't seen Tom since Christmas. Number 5, has Alan flown in an aeroplane before? Number 6, Shannon hasn't gone to lunch yet. Number 7, our class has taken a field trip 3 times this year. Number 8, where have they moved to? Number 9, Jennifer has asked that question 4 times today. And number 10, you haven't eaten lunch yet, have you? Really well done if you got lots of those correct. If you didn't, don't worry. Have a look back at the slide that explained how to form the tense and see if you can identify where you made a mistake. It's just as important when you're learning to find out why something is wrong, because then you understand the process and it means that you'll get it right next time. So if you have made some mistakes, please go back and just double check what the mistake was. You'll notice with these as well, I did include some irregular verbs. For example, number 3, speak, spoke, spoken. So well done if you got these irregular ones correct. That's really well done. Good. Okay, so that's how we form the present perfect tense. But the key question is, how do we use it? When do we use it? And why do we need this tense in British English? So we're going to look at the use. So crucially, when there is a connection with now, think about the name of the tense. It's called present perfect. It's called present perfect because even if the action happened in the past, there still has an effect or a result now, hence the word present. So I've given you some examples here. I have lost my key. You lost the key in the past, but it's still true now. I have seen the film before. I have forgotten my passport. So these situations, the event might have happened in the past, but the effect, the result is still true now. So we need a present perfect tense. Okay. The second use, when we are introducing some new information. Police have arrested 5 people. There has been an accident, so the road is closed. Ouch! I've cut my finger. All of these cases, we need a present perfect tense. And thirdly, when we are describing life experiences. I have visited France many times. I have been scuba diving in the Maldives. I have worked in marketing for 2 years. So this is a really common use of this tense. When you're talking about experience that you have, the experience happened in the past, but the effect is still true, is still valid now. So you need to join this, the connection between the past and the present, with the present perfect tense. Okay, how are we doing? So let's think about the past simple, because this is a tense that you use and that you're aware of. What's the difference between present perfect and past simple? Let's have a look. So when do we use present perfect and when do we use past simple? Past simple is used for events that are completely finished in the past. So I've given you two examples here because I think it's easier for you to see. So, past simple. I went to France in 2013. You're describing an event that is finished. You went one time, it was in 2013, it's finished. Present perfect. I have been to France many times. Here you're talking about your experience. The going to France might have happened in the past, but you went many times, so it's experience, so you need a present perfect tense. We use present perfect when a past action has a result in the present. Compare. Past simple, I lost my keys last week. Because you're using the expression last week, you're saying it finished in the past. It's a completed event. But in the second example, oh no, I have lost my keys. They're still lost now. So if I can't find them, I'm looking in my bag. Where are my keys? I have lost them. I lost them in the past, but I still can't find them. So the result is in the present, and you need a present perfect tense. What do you think? Okay, let's practice. So I'm going to give you 3 pairs of sentences, and I'm asking you which one is correct in each pair. So let's have a look at the slide. I'll read them through for you, and then I want you to pause the slide and to say which one is correct. Is it A or is it B? And importantly, when you're making your decision, see if you can think why. Why is it correct? Okay, I have travelled all over Europe. B. I have travelled all over Europe when I was a student. Which one is correct? C. I have lost my passport when I went to Spain. D. I have lost my passport and now I can't travel. Which one is correct? E. I have seen this film before. F. I have seen this film last year. Which one is correct? Do you know? Pause the video, make a note, and I will share the answers with you. Okay, how did you do? You think you get them all correct? Let's have a look together. Okay. So, which one is correct, A or B? The answer is A. I have travelled all over Europe. Now, do you know why? Well, the key point here is that in sentence B, you say, when I was a student. So this is something that is in the past. I was a student. This tells you it's something that's finished. So in that sentence, you don't need a present perfect because it's something that's finished in the past. You just need past simple. Sentence A, on the other hand, is talking about your experience. I have travelled all over Europe. Same situation with C and D. The correct answer is sentence D. And this is because in sentence C, you've got when I went to Spain. So it tells you that going to Spain was something in the past. So therefore losing the passport in Spain in the past, you just need a past simple in this sentence. But sentence D, there's a connection to now. I've lost my passport and now I can't travel. Present perfect. And E and F. I have seen this film before, and I have seen this film last year. The correct answer is E, because again in F you're saying last year, something that's finished. I saw this film last year would be correct. But I have seen this film before, present perfect, you saw it in the past, but it's still true now. Really well done if you got those correct, and also well done if you correctly identified why you needed a present perfect and why you needed a past simple. Okay, so what we noticed when we looked at those statements were there are sometimes some key words, let's call them signal words, which when you see them, they tell you you need a past simple tense or a present perfect. And these kind of words are really helpful when you're learning English because they give you a clue. You see the word, you know which tense you need to use. It's especially important if you're doing something like writing in English where you've got a bit more time to make your sentences accurate. So what I'm going to do now is show you some of the key signal words for the past simple and some key signal words for the present perfect. So this will really help you. Let's have a look. So if you see words like yesterday, ago, in 2010, the other day, last week. With words like this, you're going to need a past simple tense because it's something that's finished in the past. Straightforward past simple. But if you see these words, just, already, up to now, until now or till now with the same meaning, ever, yet or not yet, so far, lately or recently. If you see these words, they're all words that connect the past to the present, and with these you need a present perfect tense. So really useful to have a look at that list, see if you can remember. So focus on these words and see if you can remember that when you see these or when you use them, the tense that follows is going to be present perfect. Okay, so I'm going to give you some more practice. I'm going to show you some pairs of sentences, and again I want you to tell me which one is correct. So this is practicing using the signal words. So have a review of the slides. See if you can make sure you remember which words are for past simple, which words are for present perfect. Okay, which one is correct, A or B? I hadn't much time to exercise recently. Or B, I haven't had much time to exercise recently. So A is past simple, B is present perfect. Which one is correct? Okay, A. The other week I worked late every night. Past simple. B. The other week I have worked late every night. Present perfect. But which one is correct? A. In 2015 I lived in Sydney. Past simple. In 2015 I have lived in Sydney. Present perfect. Which one is correct? And the final two. A. I think I was very patient up to now. Past simple. Or B. I think I have been very patient up to now. Which one is correct? So in each pair there's only one that's correct. You can't say both of them, they're not both correct. The big clue here is whether the signal word is for a past simple tense or a present perfect tense. Pause the slides, I'll show you them one more time. Pause and see if you can write down A or B. Okay, so let's go back. So pause the slide. And pause the slide again. Okay, what do you think? Are you feeling confident? I think this is a slightly easier exercise because once you've spotted the word, you know which tense you need to use. But let's check together. So, which one is correct? It was B. I haven't had much time to exercise recently. Remember, recently is the key word that tells you present perfect, so it must be option B. The second pair, the other week, I worked late every night. Signal word, the other week, it must be past simple. The third group is A. In 2015, I lived in Sydney. 2015 is finished, must be past simple. And the final group, I think I have been very patient up to now. Did you remember that up to now means present perfect because it means something in the past that happened to the present must be a present perfect tense. Really, really well done if you got those correct. That's really good. Well done, everybody. So the final part of this first lesson on the present perfect tense is going to look at the key words of yet, already, and just. These are really important because you need to use them often. So it's important to understand the difference between them. They're very useful words to use. So do you know the difference? Number 1, I have just finished the report. Number 2, I have already finished the report. And number 3, I haven't finished the report yet. Pause the slide and see if you can tell me what's the difference here. It's the same sentence, but using the words just, already, and yet changes the meaning of the sentence, which is important. So pause the slide, have a think, and see if you can tell me what's the difference. Okay, let's have a look together. So just means a short time ago. The train has just arrived. Already means sooner than expected. He has already finished his homework. He finished sooner than expected. And yet means until now. But note that we only use this in a negative or a question form. Have you paid the bill yet? Do you remember in the example we looked at, there was a negative. I haven't finished the report yet. So yet you're going to use in a negative or a question. Okay, so I think it would be a good idea to practice. So I've got 6 sentences for you. All I want you to do is to tell me yet, already, and just. Now sometimes there might be more than one possibility depending on how you interpret the situation. So it might be more than one option. Sometimes there is only one option, so be careful. Let's have a look at the slide and then pause it and note down your answers. Number 1, Mary's arrived home from work. Number 2, we've seen this film twice. Number 3, has Stuart opened his presents? Number 4, he's turned on the TV. Number 5, I haven't had breakfast. And number 6, Nick's phoned me 3 times today. Pause the video and write down your answers. Okay, how did you do? Before we check the answers, just a point to note, you can see here that I've used the apostrophe S. So instead of Mary has arrived, I've connected Mary and has to Mary's. The same with number 2. Instead of we have, we've. So I've contracted them because this is a very common thing that we'll do when we're speaking. So it's important to note here the apostrophe S means has and the apostrophe VE means have. But let's check the answers and see how you did. Okay, number 1, Mary's just arrived home from work. Number 2, we've already seen this film twice. Number 3, has Stuart opened his presents yet? Number 4, he's just turned on the TV. Number 5, I haven't had breakfast yet. And number 6, Nick's already phoned me 3 times today. So for number 1, you could also choose already here. Mary has already arrived home from work. Number 4, you could also choose already. He's already turned on the TV. But the others, I think you need to keep to the answers that I've given. How did you do? Well done if you got those correct. If you didn't, don't worry. Go back, have a look at the slide and then try them again. Remember, there's also a test at the end that you can watch and try after this lesson. And there will be a second lesson on present perfect, so lots of opportunity to practice. Okay, before we finish the lesson, there is one important point I want to tell you about with this tense. Gone or been. So be careful when you use gone and be careful when you use been because they have a different meaning. I've given you 2 examples so you can see what I mean here. So the first one, Emma is on holiday. So I can say she has gone to Spain because she's there now, or she's on her way. Maybe she's on the plane. But in situation 2, Emma is back home. She's not in Spain. So here you need to use been. She has been to Spain because she has now come back. So that's quite an important difference and something to think about when you're using this tense and those particular verbs. So that's the end of our lesson, the end of lesson 6 on present perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I hope you feel you have a better understanding now of this tense. Remember, you're not expected to get everything correct because this level, if you're a B2 level, you're still learning. So the important thing is that you're taking on board and you're understanding the difference. As I mentioned, there will be a second lesson on the present perfect tense, which is lesson 8. But lesson 7, the next one in the course, is going to be a vocabulary lesson. And we'll be thinking about describing people, not their appearance, but their personality. So what's inside. So it's going to be a really interesting lesson, lots of practice opportunities as always. So please join me for that. Thank you very much and goodbye.